So, what if I told you the entire billion-dollar self-help industry has it completely backwards? Today, we're digging into a pretty radical idea from our source material, that the real path to a full life isn't about improving yourself, but actually about emptying yourself. I know, it sounds wild. Let's get into it.
Right off the bat, our source material isn't pulling any punches. It calls modern self-help a shiny plastic toy. That's a bold claim for sure, but honestly, think about it for a second. Have you ever felt like you're just on this endless treadmill of self-improvement, always chasing the next productivity hack, the next life-changing book, but you never really feel any different?
I mean, we are drowning in self-help resources. Books, podcasts, seminars, you name it. And yet, look at this. Anxiety and depression rates are just soaring. It's a huge paradox, isn't it? The more tools we supposedly have to fix ourselves, the more broken we seem to feel. Something here just doesn't add up.
And this one really hits home. You're doing all the things. You've got the gratitude journal, the 5 a.m. morning routine, you're repeating your positive affirmations, but there's still that quiet, nagging feeling inside, that little bit of hollowness. If that sounds at all familiar, trust me, you are not alone. So what on earth is going on?
Well, the source uses this brilliant metaphor. It says we treat our inner selves like a DIY home improvement project, you know? We're always trying to add a new feature, a new habit here, a better mindset there. But what if the whole foundation is cracked? What if the blueprint we're all working from is just wrong?
Let's meet Mark. This guy is the poster child for the self-help movement. His whole life is this perfectly tuned machine of optimization hacks and productivity strategies. He literally eats optimization for breakfast. But behind that perfect facade, Mark is just miserable. He feels empty, like a total fraud just playing a part. Ringing any bells?
A cathedral on a foundation of sand. Just let that image sink in for a second. All our lives, we're building these incredible, towering structures of who we are, our identity, our achievements, our self-worth. But what if it's all built on the shifting, unstable sands of the ego? What happens when the first real storm of life rolls in?
Yeah, we're all taught to have a strong ego, right? To build up our self-esteem. But what if that's the very thing holding us back? The source argues that the ego isn't a muscle to be strengthened. It's more like a cataract on your eye. The bigger it gets, the fuzzier your vision of reality becomes. So the goal isn't to polish the cataract, it's to have it removed so you can finally see clearly.
Okay, so if the whole self-help industry is selling us a bill of goods, what's the alternative? Well, this is where it gets really interesting. The source points us to this ancient, totally counterintuitive idea, the paradox of the empty cup. And believe me, this concept turns pretty much everything you think you know about personal growth completely on its head.
The core idea here is something called kenosis. It's a Greek word that means self-emptying. Now, this isn't about self-destruction or anything like that. It's about letting go of all that baggage we carry around. The constant grinding need to be right, the fear of what people think of us, the endless performance of being me. It's really about creating space for something new, something true, to finally come in. Think about your life as a cup. Most of us are walking around with a cup that's just overflowing with our own opinions, our biases, our fears. You know, it's filled to the brim with lukewarm water, and there is zero room for anything else. Kenosis is the simple act of emptying that cup, pouring out all that stagnant water of the ego to finally make room for something better to be poured in.
And this slide just nails the difference. Modern self-help is all about polishing the cup. Manage your anxieties, organize your insecurities, make it look shiny. But this ancient wisdom asks a much more powerful question. Why in the world would you polish a cup that's full of sludge? The truly radical, life-changing move is to just pour it all out and start over.
Now, I know what you might be thinking. This all sounds a little new agey, maybe. But the idea of self-emptying is actually as old as civilization itself. It's this golden thread that runs through almost all of the world's great wisdom traditions. As you're about to see, this is a power move that has been practiced for thousands of years.
I mean, look at this. From the Buddhist core teaching on non-self, the profound insight that our idea of a separate permanent self is just an illusion, to the Christian concept of kenosis, where divinity is revealed through self-giving, the idea is everywhere. Even the ancient mystics who went out into the desert knew that real freedom doesn't come from building the ego up, but from letting it dissolve. This is a practice that's been road-tested for centuries.
And this really represents the fundamental shift in perspective.
Are you a project that needs to be finished, a problem that needs to be solved, or are you a mystery to be explored, to be entered into? The self-help industry desperately wants you to think of yourself as a project, but the real path, the one with meaning, lies in embracing the mystery.
So you're probably asking, okay, but what's the point of all this? Why would anyone choose emptiness over a successful, high-achieving self? It sounds totally backwards, I get it. But the source argues that true strength, real resilience, isn't found in a heavily fortified ego, but in a radical, undefended openness to life. Just think about the last time you felt really stressed out or angry. I'll bet you anything it was because your ego felt threatened in some way. Right? Somebody cut you off in traffic, your boss criticized your work, you felt judged on social media. We spend an unbelievable amount of energy defending this fragile little fortress we call me.
When you stop guarding the gate, you become like the air. You can't be broken by a hammer. Wow, this is the ultimate power move. When you let go of that constant need to defend your ego, you become, in a way, untouchable. Insults, criticism, judgment, they just pass right through you. It's not that you're invincible, it's that there's nothing there for the blow to land on.
Okay, so let's say you're on board with this idea. But how do you actually do it? How do you practice self-emptying without, moving to a monastery? Well, the good news is you don't have to. The source gives 3 really simple, really powerful practices you can start weaving into your life, like today. First, notice the protest. You know that little voice in your head that flares up and screams, "How dare they?" when you feel slighted? Just watch it, observe it, don't feed it. That simple act of noticing creates a little bit of space between you and your ego's knee-jerk reaction. Second, practice silence. Just 5 minutes a day, no phone, no music. Try to quiet the inner chatter, just be. This helps you detach from that constant stream of me thoughts. And third, serve someone secretly. Do something genuinely kind for another person and then tell absolutely nobody. This starves the ego of the credit and validation it absolutely craves.
So, in the end, it really all boils down to a choice. There are 2 paths, 2 ways of being in this world. And the source presents this choice with a really powerful metaphor that I think is going to stick with you long after we're done here.
The treadmill, or the door. The treadmill is that endless cycle of self-help. You run and run, you get exhausted, but the scenery never ever changes. The door, on the other hand, is the terrifying but liberating choice to just stop, to step through it. Leave all that baggage behind, the ambition, the performance, the carefully built self, and just walk out into the sunlight. So, we'll leave you with this final thought. Self-help tells you to go out there and build your truth. This ancient wisdom says something very different. It says truth isn't something you build at all, it's something you receive. And the only real question is, are your hands empty enough to hold it? Thanks for joining us for this explainer.